William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis and the late Patti Fink. Josh, our board operator, is back after a month's hiatus because he was out teaching school on Sundays.
Yes.
And we're glad to have him back just in time for Pledge Drive. Our guest today, as it usually is on First Pledge Drive Sunday, is Candy Marcum, who is a community counselor and therapist and leader and
Pledge Drive guest.
And Pledge Drive person guest. Pledging is quick, necessary, and rewarding. The easiest part is calling 972. Do you like the way,
I really do.
After 30 years of doing this, 4 times a year, 3 weeks of Pledge Drive, I can do this with this much oomph. The easiest part is calling 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. And we're kidding around, but if you don't pledge and we don't get any money, the show's off the air.
Yep.
So support the show.
Easy.
It is that easy.
Yeah.
Support this show, support community radio, and make a difference. Continue ruining Patty's, Leron's, and my Sunday as they've been ruined. Well, yours for the past 16 years, yours for the past 17 years, mine for the past 30 years.
And mine's ruined just a tad today.
A Cowboys game.
Cowboys game and Candy.
I know.
I feel so incredibly honored that you are here.
I feel like, get over it.
This is amazing. You can watch the highlights.
It's not like it's the Cubs. It's only going to happen once a century. No,
I love how sympathetic this group is, but I thank you, Patty.
But I'm impressed that David knows that stat.
About the Cubs?
About the Cubs.
You know, I think it's terrible that they won the World Series.
Really?
Yeah, they had this wonderful record going that we're not going to be able to duplicate for at least another 50 years.
Okay, let's go on with the show.
Okay, so we've been here at our new studios for over a year now. Patty?
I was going to say, suppose they strive to be a new record, like win the World Series like 10 times in a row. But David doesn't think that way.
No, I don't. We've been here in our new studios over a year now, and our sound has improved with a new donated board and studio. However, the rent has increased, and compared to, well, our beautiful old studios with our marble floors that is now a hole in the ground, I hated to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated to see that.
That's sad.
KNON, a couple of other things about donating. KNON doesn't send our donor list or sell our donor list to anybody. That would take the ability to make a list. There's nobody here with that ability. And KNON is all about being live and local. The DJ and the listening audience selects what you hear. Yes, believe it or not, nobody programmed for me what I just said. Can you believe it?
That's how talented you are.
I guess so. Actually, I was reading that. It came from the station here. But it's all live. It's all local. We're the only station that is that way. Every other station, there are 63 radio stations in town. We're the only station where all of it is live, all of it is local, all of it is...
unscripted.
Can you tell?
Except for when David writes every week, hello, welcome to Lambda Weekly. This is David Taffet. He writes it out. His own name.
Well, we were talking about Alzheimer's just before the show, and we'll talk about it. Anyway, give us a call. The number is 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. And while we're joking about it, because we like to keep Pledge Drive light, we like to be entertaining, but if we don't get pledges, the show is gone. And we're one of 6 original shows
6 original shows still on the
that
air
are still on the air. So we've been on
since 1983.
33 years.
And we know that this is election week. We've got enough discussion about that coming up, but I like what it says here in the studio. Vote for Knon.
Ah, now that's a good choice.
It is.
Uh-huh.
Vote for us by pledging. 972-647-1893.
That's good.
And the amount of your donation and your support is not as important as the numbers. We need even a small donation is really important to our pledge drive effort.
Absolutely.
So we need to show that we've got listeners and our listeners are supportive. We've been on the air now for 33 years. Knon has been behind us, and we are the oldest, longest running LGBT radio show anywhere in the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
And I always want to say this when I'm on this show. These hosts get no pay. They take time off from their Sunday. No, you don't either. and Josh, too. They all come here using their own effort and their own expense to put on wonderful programming for folks to learn more about their community, their LGBT community. And then 3 times a week or 3 times a year, they have to beg for money. So please help them out.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. A number that this year I finally learned.
Good.
I don't have to look at the sheet that's right in front of us.
972-647-1893. That's with my eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Oh, very good.
972-647-1893. I'm cheating. I'm looking at it. I disclosed to Candy before the show that I think I have early symptoms of Alzheimer's, so I don't remember stuff like that.
Do you know?
I don't remember you telling me that. I do.
Candy just had a birthday, so
that's right.
Yeah, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Candy!
Thank you.
Well, give us a call. Let's start talking about a couple of things. 972-647-1893 is the number, and we're not kidding when we say we really do need your support. We have all kinds of pledge premiums. $40 are some of our T-shirts. $75 is our wonderful umbrella. $40 also for an apron. That's one of Patty's favorites. The new canvas shopping bag is for $50, I believe.
And if it's canvas and Knon, I'm supporting it. That's the apron and the canvas shopping bags. And those canvas shopping bags, folks, I mean, the reality here, it's a big bag. You can put all your heavy stuff in it when you're at the grocery store, and it's got a long enough strap that you can sling it over your shoulder when you're trying to carry it in from the car. That's the bottom line.
I walk to the grocery store.
See how important it is to sling it over your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Now those little short handles where you have to carry them.
Yeah,
low.
no, those bags are great. 972-647-1893. Give us a call. Candy, I don't know if you've heard, but there's an election coming up.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you might not have had time to think about it at all. We were trying to figure out how to frame this to stay away from the obvious. But let's talk a little bit about all the racism, anti-Muslim, anti-Semitism, anti-Hispanic, anti-woman,
anti-LGBT,
anti-everything sentiment that people have felt free to discuss. First of all, is it better that people can say it out loud rather than bottling it up, or is it better for them to know that you're not supposed to say those things?
I think what is interesting to me and probably to a lot of people is the number of folks that Trump's message is resonating with. Mm-hmm. And because he is so brazen with the language and the messages, I think people are feeling freer to say it, but they were saying it in their heads, or at least to other like-minded people. So personally, I think it's good that we know that's out there, because although it's so shocking, it is out there. People feel that way about minorities. They either, or maybe both, feel superior, feel fearful. With LGBT and marriage equality, I think they feel somehow that their faith is being attacked. That there are a lot of people in our country who believe that horrible stuff that Trump is saying.
I agree with you, and I think that because Barack Obama was elected to office not once but twice in a row, that it created maybe a false sense of we have arrived. We don't have that in our country anymore.
I heard...
And most of us have always said, no, it's still there.
I heard one Trump supporter this week. I heard one Trump supporter this week say, well, race relations are worse than ever, and look who's president.
But that's my point. The second he came into office, I mean, this, I credit Aaron with this, that it started with Sarah Palin. The level of discourse plunged dramatically when Sarah Palin started taking the stage at rallies. Because she sort of mainstreamed this idea that you can call a candidate for a major party candidate for president of the United States a terrorist, and you can just the name calling, the level of discourse is just gutter, and she kind of set that bar really low, and from the time he ran until this moment right now, the racists out there have unleashed.
Yes,
they felt empowered.
Unashamedly.
I don't think they've been hiding it. I think that all along they've been doing it since 2008 when he ran.
But why does it feel so much worse right now?
Because someone who is running for president of the United States is saying it.
Exactly. We have a candidate who echoes it, and whether you like McCain or Romney, neither one of them were nowhere in the same zip code as Trump, as far as what they're saying.
He empowers them.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. And they think, oh, he's doing it, I can do it, and I love doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what they're thinking.
And one of the reasons McCain actually lost the election, or one of the turning points in his campaign, was when a woman asked a question about Obama.
Is he a Christian?
Is he an Arab?
Is he a Muslim or a Christian?
And
no, she didn't ask. She said he is a Muslim.
No, I thought it was a guy. And
it was a woman.
It was a woman. And he took the microphone away from her.
And he corrected her.
Yeah.
And he said, no, we can talk about the issues, and we have differences on issues, but let's keep the discussion on that level. And to his credit, and I think history will remember him for this, I hope.
I do.
He tried to keep the discussion on a civil level and did what an election should do, which is discuss the issues.
And what did Trump say about McCain?
That he's not
he is not a war hero.
Because he likes people who aren't captured.
Exactly. He got captured.
But let's go back to the comment that the lady made about Obama being a Muslim. I always thought, so what if he was?
Exactly.
So what if he was?
But he was saying he was a Christian, and so she saw the duplicity in that.
So now we have a group of people, a new group of people, and it's deemed that have been deemed bad or terrorists or evil, and that's okay. That's not okay. I've always said that. So what if he were Muslim?
Exactly. I agree with you.
Trump wants to get rid of all the Muslims in the United States.
But let's not forget who these people are. And as a white woman, I'm going to say this: a white Christian woman. It's white people. It's white people.
Yes.
This is primarily uneducated white people, and primarily uneducated white males who are out there in front saying bigger and more bigly than Trump himself all the racist things they want to.
I don't think that profile is exactly right. I wished it was, but a lot of these people are educated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and a lot of them are women and men and Jewish, which is just shocking to me.
That's just in Dallas. Jewish.
Well, he's polling about 3 or 4% with African American voters.
In some states, he's polling 0.
Yes.
Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. And a lot in Pennsylvania. It's way down there in Pennsylvania. He keeps saying, "Oh, he'll win." It's just shocking to me that he thinks he's reached out to all of these minority communities. Now they're claiming that the Latino community is 20% for Trump. We'll see when the numbers roll from voting.
They voted, so we'll see.
Okay, now the Hispanic community.
And they'll vote on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. The Hispanic community includes the Mexican community, but Mexicans are not the Hispanic community.
No,
so
that's right.
Not alone.
Right. So, do you think that it's mostly Cubans who have tended to be Republican, and some other ethnic groups or...
I have a good friend who's Cuban, and he taught me years ago that his parents' generation, the generation that left Cuba, are Republican, but the next generation, his generation, he's about my age, are Democrat. So there's a real disconnect per generation.
So
they're in
this?
Florida.
I'm just trying to figure out who this 20% is.
Well, they did make a distinction in some polling that those who have been established in the United States and speak English, in fact, I know quite a few Latino men who don't speak Spanish at all. They've never learned
Right, they're third or fourth generation.
Right, because they've been here a long time.
Well, and I get how that works, because that's how my family was.
Right.
My father grew up speaking Hungarian.
Right.
I don't speak a word of it.
My dad was German.
Yeah.
I don't speak any German. But at the same time, there are those, they distinguish between those who have been here a long time versus those who haven't been here a long time. And there was sort of a spread, but I don't think it was 20%. We're gonna have to see how those numbers
I've
fall.
heard that.
You know, it's interesting having a discussion about Hispanics and who are not getting the Republican vote. Many or several of the members of the Bush family have come out and said that they're going to support Hillary Clinton. But
Yes.
the one person who's come out and said that they are voting for Trump from the Bush family is the one that's half Hispanic.
George P.
Yes.
Well, but he's also an elected official in Texas, and
Yeah.
I think he has aspirations.
Sure.
So it's to his benefit that he would vote for Trump.
See, I thought, the second I saw that, I thought, mercenary.
And did you hear that, what's his name, Jeb Bush, is coming to Texas?
Teaching at A&M.
Yeah, to teach at A&M.
Yeah.
Just what we need, another Bush in Texas. We need to take a break. You're listening to Lambda Weekly
Texas.
on 89.3 Knon FM. Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis and the late Patti Fink. Our guest today is the inimitable Candy Marcum.
Oh, very good.
It is Pledge Drive. The number is 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Patty, before we go to break, just read one of those sheets right there. And
Let's talk about the Knon Elite Music sponsor. Aaron and I have done this before. It's $500, but for $500 you get so much. Knon has live events all the time, and most of them involve food. So that's 40 to 50 shows a year. So for your $500 Elite Music sponsorship, you and your guest have 2 tickets to every event that Knon sponsors through the year. You don't even have to worry about the tickets. You don't have to call between each event and find out, if your name's on the list. Your name's on the list. Your name and a guest. All you have to do is show up and enjoy.
so we do know how to make one kind of list.
We do.
I said we didn't have to make a list.
We make a
we
list
do.
of elite
That
music
list we
sponsors.
can do.
Yeah, so it's a great deal. Give us a call. It's a great way to enjoy throughout the year and support Lambda Weekly and KNON. 972-647-1893.
This is Rollins Gilliland, and I'm listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3. And darn glad to be doing it.
And welcome back to Lambda Weekly. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis, the late Patti Fink, and our guest, Candy Marcum. Before we go back to talking about what we're talking about with Trump, you what?
No, go ahead.
Lerone and I are usually good about, and Patty.
I guess we misfired on that one.
This is
usually
a really
good about-
rudimentary kind of sign language you guys have. It's just a point. Point at you, point back. Point at you, point back. I don't even know what it means.
But we usually do.
It usually works. Anyway,
Lerone, you, David. I mean,
it is Pledge Drive, so give us a call, 972-647-1893. You pay for concert tickets, you pay for cell phones, CDs, cable, satellite radio, help keep this station on the air. When you're paying for your cable TV bill, you're paying for things like Fox News. Who wants it?
right.
Again, vote for KNON.
Mm-hmm.
Vote for KNON, and we need to thank, before we go any further, thank you, Candy.
Oh, you're
Thank you,
welcome.
Candy.
Pledge. Thank you so much.
Very generous pledge.
Thank you.
Actually, not a pledge. She paid her pledge.
Yes.
Thank you, Candy.
Well, I paid it. I made it and paid it. Hey.
You can and actually you can make your pledge and pay your pledge several different ways. We take American Express, Discover, MasterCard, Visa. You can send us a check. We still do it that way. The other thing that you can do is go online and go to knon.org, click on the pledge button, and what will come up is a page that has not only all the information we need, which is just basic stuff, your name, your address, how you're going to pay it, but also it has all the a list of all the premiums. And so if you're doing a $40 pledge, these items. If you're doing a $50 pledge, these items. Or you can decide that you really don't want any of those items. Like I had to start weeding out my T-shirt drawer because I had so many Knon T-shirts.
I have so many Knon T-shirts. I have multiple aprons, and I have lots of canvas bags, but I love those canvas bags.
I love those canvas bags, too, but I don't need another one right now.
Yeah. And you can also pledge through a bank draft. And I think that's wonderful because it spreads it out throughout the entire year. You can give us a call again, and we'll talk to you about how to set that up at 972-647-1893. You choose the amount, and it will deduct from your bank account on the 1st through the 3rd or the middle of the month, 14th through the 16th of every month. And again, you set the amount, and it just comes out automatically. You don't even have to worry about it.
Now, we have these little thought bubbles coming out, so I'm looking across the room, and Patti has these thought bubbles coming out of her head. And one of them is, join the Knon family where you're a VIP, a very important pledger. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. I wonder if all of our listeners are watching the Cowboys game.
It's Cowboy.
The Cowboy game.
The Cowboy game.
Oh, boy.
There's probably an inflection point you need to make, too.
Yeah.
Cowboy game.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. We've been talking a little bit about what this election has done to the national psyche, kind of. Here's one thing that you brought up. It's the family and friends.
Every election.
And that's what the
that's
was
what
for. Because he was pointing to himself, and
David.
Exactly. Me speak. You quiet. Okay.
I like that one.
Duct tape.
All right. Okay, so in every election,
speaking, so the rest of us are going to be quiet now.
So every election, there's tension between the parties and friends and family who have opposing opinions. But this year, or this election cycle, the strife is just through the roof. I mean, friendships have ended, and I'm not just talking about Facebook friends. You know, friendships have ended, and relationships have been strained, and family relationships. And I don't know if some of those are going to be repaired on November 9th, regardless of who wins. And so I was talking to Candy before the show about one of the CNN contributors, Van Jones, who is openly very much a Hillary supporter. But he did an interesting thing. He went and interviewed some Trump supporters, some families. He actually went to their houses and interviewed them in their living rooms. And this one lady, poor thing, she just broke down crying because she was saying how when she came out on social media that she was a Trump supporter, how she just got dogged left and right, and she immediately, some of her friends started attacking her parenting skills and calling her a terrible mother. And she just really made an interesting point. And she's like, how did I go from expressing my opinion about a candidate to now that my parenting skills are called into question? So it's gotten that serious. What is going on there where we can't leave politics in one column and our love for our friends and family in the other column?
And to that, before you answer, is what's Thanksgiving going to be like?
Right, seriously.
For some of us, hopefully very happy. Okay. When Lerone asked me that question, what he said was, why are people straining their relationships because they have different opinions? And what I said is that people don't vote on their opinions. They think they do, but they're voting on their feelings. This is a very emotional vote. So what I said was, when they go in there and pull the lever for one of the candidates, they pull it as hard as they can, because there's a lot of emotion behind their vote. I don't know anyone who's laissez-faire about who they're going to vote for. Those 3 people that are undecided,
I just couldn't decide between Steiner and Johnson. I worked on it for a while, and
it's so interesting to hear people say that, because most people are behind their candidate 100% with a lot of emotion. And one of the emotions that I think is leading everything is fear. I think people are afraid that the country as I know it now will no longer be if X is elected. Be it Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. They're both at 59% disliked on something. I can't think of the word. Disapproval rating. That is so high.
It's very high.
So people are just really afraid that the way they believe the country should run and what is best for the country is going to be usurped by someone who comes in and does it in a way that they absolutely don't trust. They're afraid, if you're for Hillary, I think you're afraid if Trump wins, not only will he be bad for anyone who's of another race than he, or another gender than he, or another sexual orientation.
Anyone who's not exactly like him.
Right. But also, I think the global focus is what's going to happen to my country when this American gets elected. And let me tell you, they're watching. Mm-hmm. That's their news feed, too. It's the most interesting thing on their news channels. Yeah. And their countries
and most stressful
take 60 days to elect somebody. We take 18 months. So this is a big deal.
It's a very big deal. Yeah.
So do you have a suggestion for Thanksgiving in families like Lerone's where they're torn in half?
I think what you try to find is what you have in common. I think you try to find the common ground. And I think most people would agree with this, that family, pardon the word, trumps politics. And I know people believe that. I know that's a value of theirs. And so I think what you do is you don't talk about it.
And that seems to have been the thing that solves it, at least in my
You don't talk about it.
Just don't talk about it.
We're not going to convince them, and they're not going to convince us. So, let's talk about how about them Cowboys,
But how about even, because things are going to be strained, should you go out of your way to make sure you have those things to talk about and even think about how we're going to make this a good holiday?
Eggnog.
My personal...
Lots of eggnog.
No. You want to stay away from the alcohol, because that's when we get loose lips.
That's true.
I think, David, if you come from a family like that, you've dealt with it all your life. I have. And we just don't bring it up. We just don't talk about it. We have jokes, and we talk about the food, and we talk about when my 93-year-old mother and her 95-year-old sister were kids in Ireland, and they speak Gaelic, and I know how they voted. Mm-hmm. They know how I voted.
Right.
So let's just go on with it.
Let's talk about how full we are, but we're going to have that other.
But you've kept it friendly. They haven't necessarily.
But I like your question or your suggestion. I don't think it would hurt if, in fact, you've had a political fight verbally with someone in your family, and at the end of the day or at the end of this election, to go into this individual. It doesn't matter who does it, but go to an individual, put your arm around him, and say, "Hey, I still love you. We're still brothers. We're still cousins, whatever the case might be." I think that'll go a long way. And
to also say what we have in common is we both voted. We both believe in the political process, though one may think it's rigged. But I mean, we love our country. We have that in common, and we love each other, and it'll all work out.
See, in my family, it was just, "You're voting for Bernie. He's not liberal enough."
He's more liberal than Bernie.
But at least you guys kept talking.
Yeah, there was no argument in my family, really.
Some people have stopped talking.
But I will tell you this. I don't care what is going on any Thanksgiving or Christmas. Do not drink a lot. Because whatever it is that's in your head will just come right out your mouth. And then we'll have all kinds of trouble. And no one will remember the next day because they're all hungover.
And you'll feel really full, and you won't have room for that pumpkin pie and that all of the great stuff. And the green Jell-O salad that my sister's going to make.
Now, we were talking about families disagreeing and being on two sides of an issue, but here's something that we can all agree on. It's Pledge Drive, and we need to make our pledge goal.
Right. Everybody.
Amen.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Give us a call. Lerone, do you have a thing there?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like
No. Something to say on the air, not...
Talk about the umbrella. Wake up, folks.
Communication is bad. Well, you know what? Let's talk about expenses. Mm-hmm. It costs a lot to run the station. Think about the rent or the mortgage at your house. You know what it is here? The expenses are $63,000 a month. A month. I can't say that enough. The office rent alone is $2,750. But, just think about that. Things add up. We have to keep the electricity on. That's over $1,100 a month. No electricity, we're not going to be on the air. Insurance. Yeah, we are insured. That costs. What else?
In case somebody on the air says some stupid things.
Exactly. Probably the most important thing is we have to have a tower to broadcast out.
Yeah, we have to rent the tower.
We have to rent the tower. That's almost $5,000 a month. So we do have expenses. Your money is going to actual things to keep the station running, not to our salary.
And we're a 55,000 watt station, so that's like running, do you turn the lights off at home when you go out?
Yep.
Yes. Those are 100 watt bulbs. This is like having a 55,000 watt bulb on 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
And there's no advertising, is there?
No. We do not.
You know what the advertising is? It's when our listeners pledge and they pay their pledge, and we send them a T-shirt or a bumper sticker or an apron or a canvas bag, and they carry it around town and wear it around town, and then they get that wonderful Knon nod or thumbs up from other people.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty exclusive group in our
And
city.
you know what that thumb is saying? 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Give us a call. Help keep our little show on the air, because we actually are a historical show. The longest running gay and lesbian radio talk show continuously running is the key to it, because there's another show on somewhere in California, I think, that's actually longer, but they're not continuously running.
Right. They were on monthly, and then even less.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then came
But
back.
that's not just in the U.S. That's anywhere in the world with the longest continuously running gay talk show.
Right.
God help us.
LGBT.
972-647-1893.
I'm going to be a proponent of everything, all things canvas.
Okay.
Okay, so canvas, you can get a Knon concert folding chair for $100, and for $150 you get two. And those are fantastic, and it's a great way to enjoy those events. If get invited by your Knon Elite Music sponsor and bring those chairs. Also, the Knon canvas shopping bag, $50. This is fantastic. I could just get more and more of those every day. Have an exclusive pile in my car when I go into Kroger or wherever I shop. The Knon barbecue apron. This is a fantastic item. It's a wonderful way to enjoy and be protected from your cooking experience.
And notice how Patti she's stocked up on those things when that first came out. I can imagine her cooking.
I love to cook.
I'm sure you do.
Just don't get too close.
That's right. Bring your own apron. I'll give you one if you come close. And the Knon backpack. The Knon backpack is $50, and I use mine all the time. I really do.
I do too.
Last minute when you're going to an event, you just grab that thing and go in, and you've got, the things you need.
I use mine as my briefcase.
Yeah.
I take it to work every day.
It's a big deal. So all things canvas, 972-647-1893. Call for canvas, Knon. Notice the sound? Canvas, Knon. 972-647-1893.
And I can't stress enough how this is the one station that everything is live and local. No other station does that. They buy their music playlists from companies in New York or wherever. They have canned whatever packages, even the other station that you can pledge to. They get most of that programming from elsewhere.
Right.
They do a couple of local shows, but we do 24 hours a day local programming. And that's a monumental feat to have people here in the studio 2 in the morning on a Tuesday morning.
No kidding.
It really is when you think about it. You know anything about how radio stations are run.
Yeah.
And it's all local.
So,
Karen just texted me. She says, "Are you canvassing?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm canvassing."
That's funny.
Vote KNON.
972-647-1893.
and your money does make a difference, so give us a call. Operators, even our operators are local. They're here in the studio.
They are.
Call those other stations, it's not local anymore.
And even the ones who are they're standing by as well. So
And
they're
he is
waiting for your call,
He is standing.
waiting for your call, and standing by. So that's pretty cool.
So why are you listening, and what is it worth to you? We're just talking a little bit about, let's just wrap this up a little bit, how this election has been different than other elections, and not in the, in the content, but in the tone.
You know, it's a historical election, and I think it'll be one that'll be studied for years and years and years. It is so off the tracks of any other election that we've had. It is so mean-spirited, so negative, and I think they'll study this for a long time of how we got here and how we stop it from happening next time, which I don't think it will happen next time. I think that personality of Trump's is so strong, unbelievably strong, that he has railroaded this election and taken it down to name-calling and scare tactics.
And I'll give him this for it. It's not something that he just picked up from somebody else, and it's nothing that anybody else can copy.
No, it is on the strength of his personality, without a doubt. I think that, and I don't, they call him a narcissist, and I think anyone who runs for office that high probably is a narcissist. So it's not that, it's the strength of that personality of where he can look right at you and either change the conversation, not answer your question, or answer it wrong. Yes.
Yeah.
And then accuse you of reporting him.
Where did you get that? He says to her. Where did you hear that? Well, it's your own words.
No, I didn't.
Well, and I think regardless of who wins, the genie's out of the bottle, and this kind of hate, and I can be as violent as I want to be, I can say anything I want to, is hard to put back in the bottle.
It is, but it is something that has to be done. You can't have that kind of vitriol out there. You're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 KNON FM. I'm Dave Taffet here in the studio with Lerone Landis and the late Patti Fink, and we'll be back with more Lambda Weekly right after this.
Hi, this is Valletta Lell, and I listen to Lambda Weekly. I hope that you will too.
And you're listening to Lambda Weekly on 89.3 KNON FM. It is Pledge Drive. Phone has not been ringing. We just got one call. We need more calls. Lots more calls.
Lots more.
972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893. Less than 10% of our listeners pledge, so join the 10% and be a VIP listener.
That's right.
I like that statistic. Well, I don't like that statistic. I wish 20% of our listeners pledged. 972-647-1893. The other thing that you can do is you can go online. And actually, on this show especially, we get a number of our pledges that way because people don't want to, break away from the show and see how Lerone is screwing things up this week by giving me...
Our community, I think, is very technologically advanced.
Sure.
I think they like to text.
So just go to knon.org, click the pledge button. It has all of the pledge premiums. It has all the information that we need. It's secure. And The other thing about pledging with a credit card, nobody here is keeping those credit cards. We have lots of shredder machines because we don't know what else to do with those things. We do not store any of it. Once it's paid, and all that's gone. There are no radio executives here, market researchers or overpaid consultants influencing airplay. You can tell that by listening to us.
Exactly.
Yes, our writers are...
The words were never said.
We have a new fall pledge premium for a $35 pledge. For a $50 pledge, you can get a KNON. Well, they're calling it a holiday ornament. Let's just call it a Christmas ornament. What about this war on Christmas, right? It's a red circular plastic ornament with gold snowflakes and the KNON Voice of the People logo, which would be kind of fun.
Uh-huh.
And I think those of you on the other side of the table,
get one of those.
Yeah, who celebrate Christmas, you should get that holiday ornament. I mean,
well, it's not a tree.
Well, no, but it's a Christmas ornament.
Yeah. So what else?
It's not a Hanukkah ornament.
It's like, would you put it on your candles? You don't hang it on your candles.
No. Another one of the new pledge items is a cuffed...
You put it in your windowsill.
I'm with David. Call it what it is.
It's a cuffed knit toboggan beanie hat, navy blue with white stripes, a winter pom-pom hat with an embroidered KNON logo for the Voice of the People. $40 gets you one, and for $60 you can have 2 warm ears, or 4 warm ears on 2 heads. Two warm heads is what I'm trying to say. And we have a KNON fleece jacket. It's a black zip-up jacket for $100 per jacket. It comes in sizes small. Oh, Patty, this will fit you. Small through 5 extra large.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But give us a call, 972-647-1893.
The last time I tried to defend Patty on that, I said, she don't need that big. And Patty said, I don't know, my girls need room.
And Lerone turned the deepest red shade of red you've ever seen.
Totally did. So, okay.
So give us a call, 972-647-1893, 972-647-1893. Okay, so Candy, I think it's a serious question, and it might turn out to be the most inane question. We're going off of the Donald Trump thing. Okay. Brian has had, one of the first things I was able to fix, was his snoring, because it's not just snoring, he was choking.
Yeah.
And I could turn him in a right position, and it stopped that. So he really doesn't have much of a snoring problem anymore. He can't turn over in bed either, because I don't let him, but he can breathe. But he also gets not just nightmares, but night terrors, where he's really screaming, they have a gun, get rid of that gun, I see you have a gun, they're after me with a gun, and just screaming it to the point where it wakes me up and I'm a sound sleeper. Now, normally, I can talk him out of those things. I'll wake up, and what I've found is the best approach is, no, Brian, I have the gun. No, he gave it to me. There's no problem anymore. Rather than
jump into it with him.
Yeah. Rather than waking him up, because when I woke him up, he was still terrorized. But if he can resolve the dream, he's good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Except, now he has night terrors. I have night musicals.
You're gay.
Well, that's why this is a question that belongs on this show. Do other people have night musicals? Now, I grew up I lived right outside of New York City and going to Broadway shows. I'd cut classes on Wednesday afternoon because you could get in and sit in the top row of the second balcony for $2 with a student ID.
Wow.
We saw everything. But I always bought the album, and I know every single song
songs, yeah.
in a whole bunch of shows.
You're gay.
You think? Maybe. So,
it must be a new game.
Okay, so normally I have to get to a breaking point before I can break away. So, like, the Funny Girl was on one night, and now I take the lead in the show, so I can't just walk out of the dream because, I'm Barbara Streisand in this. And he's screaming, "Don't shoot, he has a gun," and I'm in the middle of, "Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter."
Oh, my.
And he's
There's a question in here somewhere.
Yeah, there
I'm
is.
Sure,
there's a gun. There's a gun. And hey, Mr. Ornstein, here I am. Got to intermission. I was able to get out of the theater, get over to Brian, help him out of his situation, get back to the theater in time for the second act. During Hello, Dolly, I might have already been in the second act when he was having his night terrors.
You might need a padded office to do this.
But, Dolly had to be back where she belonged, which is the end of the second act, before I could get over to help him.
And maybe a reinforced team of...
So I'm not sure what the question is. I think what the question is, with the price of theater tickets, is it fair for me to cut out some songs so I can get to him sooner? Maybe that's not the question.
This has to be the silliest show I have been on.
Thank you, Candy.
And I have been on years and years of this show. So we're going to go back at the beginning. And I want to say that I feel sorry for Brian because he has PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, and it comes out in his dreams in night terrors.
Yeah.
And I think it's so clever that you have found a way to enter his dream while he is dreaming, and maybe when you're not dreaming, maybe when you are, and help him with the gunman. I just think that's really wonderful. You and I had talked earlier that it would be a good thing for you to go home and visit with Brian about that he too could do that. In his dream, he could take control of that dream and make it what he wants it to be, such as the gunman pulls out a water pistol instead of a gun, or the gunman pulls out a bouquet of flowers instead of a gun. I wouldn't want him to have a gun and overpower with a gun because that seems real violent to me. But in that way, he could take control of his dreams and you wouldn't have to stop the musical. The musical could go on.
It has to. The show must go on.
It's true. Now, what I want to say about that...
Is David in costume? I don't know.
Is that why do you always have to have the lead? That's what I would say with this, David. But that's...
Well, I don't.
But you do.
No, I mean, not chorus line. I was just one of the chorus members. Of course,
no one really has a lead in chorus line.
Well, of course, when it came to, one singular sensation, every little step she takes, I was kicking, and
give me the
poor
ball,
Brian,
give me the ball,
that one.
Give me the ball, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was just...
This is the silliest show I have been on.
I have just sat back and I'm thoroughly entertained right now.
When we say vote KNON, we mean support the show as a whole, not the last 10 minutes.
I thought that was a legitimate question. I'm asking
you didn't
about
have
dreams.
A question. You really didn't have a question. You just had a story. But that's okay.
Well, no, and I think what the real question is, it's not just his dreams that we can't get out of. It's my ridiculous dreams, and I want to know, do other people have night musicals?
Let me say this, that when you dream, you're in a lighter depth of sleep. That's why you can kind of wake up, even though you try real hard. When you're in a real deep sleep, you don't dream. So sleep kind of goes up and down like this. So when both of you are dreaming, you're both kind of able to communicate with each other. And dreaming is a very healthy thing because it's your subconscious talking to your consciousness. And so what that means is that we are very smart, but our subconscious is even smarter than we are. So you want to know what you're dreaming. And with your shows and all of that, what I would ask you is, what was the feeling when you're in that show?
Oh, I'm having a ball.
Because I wonder if you're anxious that you have to get to the end of it. I wonder if you're afraid that you're going to forget your lines. I mean, it's those.
Oh, no. I know my lines. I know every song.
He does 2 shows a day, Candy.
It's one show, and I don't remember repeating any of them. But I have this thing that I have to get to the end. I could not. I mean, the one that's the most dramatic, or the one that I remember the most vividly, was Funny Girl. I could not break away from that show. I could not skip a song. I had to do every single lyric in that song, and it wasn't until intermission that I could literally, when I say I had to leave the theater, That's what was going on.
I know, but what is the emotion? That's anxiety. That has to be anxiety. I want to not do this, but I have to do this. I have to get to the end. I mean,
yeah, but normally, if I'm just having a night musical, I'm just singing, and sometimes I wake Brian up with my singing.
But the one you're presenting has a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, that one does, because I was trying to help.
Right, and that, and that may be your deal, is that you're a big helper. I mean, like you're trying to help Brian, and Brian needs to be helping Brian. David needs to be helping David. But maybe the stress of trying to help him, but I have to finish my musical. That's stress.
Let's have some tips about Thanksgiving. What do you think, Candy?
I think that's a great idea.
So a couple of minutes before we have to close the show.
972-647-1893. It is Pledge Drive. I just wanted to get that in.
I want to throw Patti to give us some tips, too, on voting.
On voting for KNON?
No, well, that, 972-647-1893. But also, the election is coming up. Who cares who you vote for?
It's Tuesday.
It's important that you do it.
Now, on Tuesday, this is the most important thing you can remember about Tuesday. If you haven't voted yet and you want to vote, Tuesday is your last day, and you must vote where you are registered. And by that, I mean your precinct. So if you're registered in a precinct where you no longer live, you have to go back to your precinct, and that's where you vote. And don't waste your time going to other places. Look it up. Look where you're going to go. Go to that location.
DallasCountyVotes.org?
DallasVotes.org. DallasCountyVotes.org.
And your employer has to let you off to vote.
Yes, you must get time off to go vote. So it's an important thing. And if you voted in my precinct, I voted stickers. Because adults want those stickers.
Do you know?
I didn't get one.
A whole bunch of precincts now have come up with stickers.
I made my own. I always have.
Yeah.
So.
And you also cannot. There's some things you cannot do. You cannot wear whoever candidate you support that logo into the building.
You can't wear anything that is partisan or about issues at all.
Within 50 feet.
100 feet.
100 feet. Sorry.
Okay.
And you cannot come into the polling location to vote. I'll make you wear a coat, or you'll have to go to the restroom.
She is
turn
so
it inside
tough.
out.
Turn it inside. Well,
or
that's
take
right.
it out.
It's a rule.
But we need more Patties like that.
It's electioneering, and we don't have that inside the polling location.
And you can take your cell phone in, but you can't use it.
Correct. If you
can't go snapping pictures.
If your phone rings in the middle of my line, you're going to have to just turn it off. You won't be able to take your call, so just don't expect to. And you turn it off times two.
I think people should move out of East Dallas.
She's going to get them in and out.
Let's go to Patty's question, Candy. We were talking about all kinds of strife that we're feeling as a result of this election. What are some good Thanksgiving tips?
Besides, don't come out.
Don't come out. Is who you voted for. I think it's important to spend Thanksgiving with people. It can be family or family of choice or a mixture of the two. There is a Dallas Cowboy game that day. There always is.
Yep.
You could do something if you're a family and you want to give back. You could go down to the soup kitchens and you could help people with their meal, with their Thanksgiving meal. I think what's important is connecting and having a family feel.
I think that's fantastic advice. And, going to the soup kitchen and helping is probably a good way for a family really torn by this election. Because your focus is not going to be on each other. It's going to be on those people in need.
You both will be doing good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a nonpartisan activity.
Yeah.
Except your Trump relatives are going to be saying, I have to help these people? or was that not helpful, what I just said?
That was not helpful.
Not helpful at all.
Which I think that was a good segue. It's Pledge Drive.
Yes.
So
Vote
be
for
helpful.
KNON.
Be helpful. 972-647-1893. That's 972-647-1893.
And you'll notice that in 972-647-1893, there are 2 sevens. And voting begins at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. And if you are in line to vote at 7 p.m., you can still vote. So if you just skate in on 2 wheels, as some people are prone to do sometimes, like me,
I can't imagine.
Get in line. If you're in line at 7 p.m., by law, you will get to vote.
You get to vote.
be there.
And you'll also notice there are 2 9s in our phone number, 972-647-1893. That's to remind you that for just $1 more than that, you can make a $100 pledge.
That was a stretch, but I'll take it.
I'll take it. 972-647-1893. The lines are very much still open. Give us a call.
Yes, they are open, and I think this show is over.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Candy, very much, as always.
Thank you, Candy.
You're welcome. David, you better thank.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.